can move. I can talk.
Cricket's the name. Jiminy Cricket.
He's my conscience.
Places like this seem like they make it very easy to step back into history. And it sounds like that's something that Walt Disney was thinking about from the very beginning.
I think he was really conscious of that. Yeah, I think so. He was always looking forward, but I think he also appreciated the historic nature of what was happening there. And I can brag about the company because I don't work for the company. They have done a remarkable job of preserving that history and preserving it and making it available for people to study.
And that's something that Walt Disney himself started doing. These have been kept.
These have been kept for decades. I think Walt, being an artist first, saw the value of holding on to the artwork, because he had called what used to be our facility, it was known as the morgue, he called it the wellspring of their experience and their knowledge. And so it was something that artists and production teams could always go back to learn from. How did they do that? Or they could be inspired by it, like, look what they did, and also build upon that. So why reinvent the wheel if they could go back to the artwork and work with that?
Do you then go back and look at Grimm's fairy tales and all the things leading to Disney films?
Yeah, that's part of the research. If you want to really know, how the film was built, you have to start with the foundation. And by contrast with films like Snow White that did begin with the Grimms and with kind of a long-standing oral tradition, Pinocchio is one that was actually based on a specific work of literature that was written at a known time by a known author. And in fact, almost everything in the film is based on something in the book. Sometimes it's based very loosely, but it all comes from something in the original.
I always love to look at the Gustav Tanngren art here. And so Gustav Tanngren, being a Swedish-born children's book illustrator, he had come to the studio. And initially he had made some artwork for publicity for Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, but then he went into making some of the character and environmental designs for Pinocchio here. So here are a couple pieces, obviously, with Honest John, Foul Fellow, or as he was known during production, Fox and Cat. And so it's just a couple of views here, a daytime and a nighttime view of this moment where Honest John and Gideon meet Pinocchio.
These look incredible for being as old as they are. What keeps them this way?
A very, very careful handling and much care to preserve them. We have them in archival boards, in archival sleeves. We keep them in vaults that are climate controlled to about 62 degrees Fahrenheit, plus or minus a couple of degrees. Standard flat 50% humidity. We try to keep everything constant. It's the fluctuations that could damage artwork. But what we try to do is to house the artwork as safely and delicately as possible. And we've actually engaged in scanning a lot of this artwork so that those who want to see it and reference it can just look at it digitally. And we don't even need to have to physically handle the art. But it's always here should people want to see it.
I think one of the biggest surprises for me was all of the story material that Walt and the artists generated and then didn't use. There had been some of that in Snow White, but in Pinocchio, I think they came up with enough material to make 3 or 4 movies and then picked out the best of that and refined it into the film that we see today. But it's kind of fascinating now to see some of the ideas that they considered and then didn't use.
Here are the story sketches that were included in the supplement of 3 Cheers for Anything, which is a song that did not make it into the film. Pinocchio was one of those films where they tried a number of times to see what they could put in and what they could keep in, but this song just, it wasn't something that they kept in. It just wasn't, it was either delaying the action of the film, but even though they tried to tie it in with Pinocchio very directly, with 3 Cheers for Anything, for swiping a pie, for telling a lie, because we all know Pinocchio is known for little fibs and fabrications there. So, but this was a film that the story process was very iterative and reiterative, trying to work out what could be in the film. At first it was how to make the characters appealing, and then it was, well, how do we more effectively and efficiently tell the story?
We would photograph people going through action. Then we would study it. I picked certain artists who were not good at what I call character animation or personality animation. They became specialists in effects. Other boys that were good on personality and character, I put them into that area. I think the vital part I played is coordinating these talents and encouraging these talents.